Hi folks, welcome. This is not a Tuesday tips and tools thingy. This is more of a Thursday discussion. Little talk, little discussion. I can't think of a TH word that goes along with Thursday. This is a Thursday think thing. It's a Thursday thing. Because I'm not really talking tools and tips today, I wanted to talk a little bit about straw phonation and what's the big deal about straw phonation in response to the videos, the set of videos that were posted all over social media that was a scope of Mindy Pack singing Chandelier, and the scope was done by Dr. Reena Gupta. And there were two, in case you haven't seen it yet, if you haven't seen it and you do want to see it, just scroll down a little bit on this page. I posted it on both Instagram and on social media, on Facebook, as did Dr. Gupta, as did Mindy Pack, and lots of other people as well. So if you haven't seen it yet, it's out there. Feel free to look it up. And what it is one set of vocal folds, or larynx, beside another little set of vocal folds. And in one set of vocal folds, we're seeing phonation without a straw. And in the other set, we're seeing, like side by side, we're seeing phonation with a straw. And what we're hearing is a little line from Chandelier. And what we're seeing is and we're not hearing, and that's what that Chandelier, with the lyrics and all that stuff, that's happening with the larynx on the one side. I can't remember whether it's right or left. Anyway, on the one side. And then on the other side, we're not hearing the lyrics, obviously, because she's using a straw, and we're not actually hearing the sound that's being created, but we're told that the other scope, the picture of the other scope is, oh, hi, June Young. Thanks for the heart. We're told that the picture of the other scope is of Mindy singing with a straw. So this set of videos caused a huge kerfluffle and lots of responses and lots of interactions with the posts on both my Vocal Instrument 101 page, this page here on Facebook, as well as on Instagram, as well as I think there was lots of reactions in other places as well. And so I wanted to kind of talk about that and talk about straw phonation and some of the concerns that people had about those two videos. So one of the things, kerfluffle indeed, I know, right? It was quite the thing. So I have my notes here. I actually made notes. I know. Who am I? What? So if I keep looking over to the side, that's why I'm checking out my notes to make sure I say the things that I want to say. So yes, big impact. And also a couple of people thought it was me singing, which woohoo, thanks, but not me singing. That was Mindy, woohoo. Oh, hi, Louisa. Oh, thank you. But what happened as well with that video, and I should say too, the side that was without the straw showed lots of laryngeal movement. It showed the larynx moving up and down. It showed the vocal tract coming in and out, showed lots of movement and lots of in response to the sounds that were being created. And the one with the straw showed the larynx basically settling in and really stable, hardly moving it as well, I'm going to get through this. Stay with me. Hardly moving at all. And yes, it was quite the topic, right, June? Yeah. Hardly moving at all, as well as the vocal tract staying very still and not changing shape at all. So I saw that and was like, oh, that's amazing. But then there were some folks who I really respect asking me and saying, asking these really important questions like, yes, but when we sing, we don't want the larynx to be stuck, and we need vocal tract shaping and movement in order to create these kinds of sounds that we're making. And some of the folks who sort of brought this up to me were like Markwart Deveaux and Gillyanne Kayes, and like Sarah Algoet, like there were a whole bunch of Kerrie Obert said this as well. So when folks like that start to say, hey, but this isn't really what we want, right? You can bet your butt I'm going to listen, because this is really, these are, yes, of course. So it hadn't really occurred to me that the straw phonation video, where we saw this stillness in the larynx and we saw this non-shape changing vocal tract, would cause people to think that that's the ideal for singing and creating sound. So it hadn't occurred to me. But again, when folks I really respect start to ask about that, I go, oh yeah, you're absolutely right. This kind of, these two videos side by side almost make it seem like this is the ideal for the larynx and for the vocal tract, this stillness and this locked in kind of non-moving larynx and non-shape changing, locked in shape vocal tract. And of course, that is not what we want. So what is the power of the straw phonation? Because obviously we're not using straw phonation to make sure that the larynx is still and that the vocal tract stays in one shape. We're not doing that. We don't create good sound when the larynx is still and when the vocal tract is in one shape. We just don't create good sound. And so I wanted to kind of do a little explanation of that. And again, this is why I did some notes. So yeah, I wanted to make a point about this, blah, 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 blah. So here are the practical. So first thing to keep in mind, the video is of a non-compromised, non-pathological larynx. So the Mindy is singing beautifully. You can hear that singing. It's lovely. It is a healthy, well-functioning larynx on both sides. So the straw exercise is like both with the straw and without the straw. I mean, this is a healthy larynx, so and well-functioning larynx. So the straw is not being used in this instance to correct something pathological or something that is, you know, not working the way it needs to work, right? That's not what the straw is being used for in this instance. So first of all, it's not being used as therapy in this instance. So just put that little bit of information in your back pocket. Hey, Rebecca. Woo. Second, would Mindy or any other singer be able to achieve the sounds that they are achieving in the first video if their larynx was absolutely still and the vocal tract completely open the whole time? No, absolutely not. So those sounds where she's doing, I wanna swing on a chandelier, when she's going up into that, you see the whole larynx doing this. It has to, in order to create that kind of twang, brass, core, whatever it is we're calling it these days. More twang seems to be the big thing these days. But anyway, so in order to create that sound, the vocal tract must do this. It must come together a little bit. You can't create those sounds with wide open vocal tract and all the stuff that we saw in the straw phonation, right? So what is the point of this side-by-side comparison, and why was I like, whoa, mind blown, and lots of people super excited about the straw phonation side-by-side comparison videos. Here we go. What this comparison video does show is the final end of the spectrum of possibilities for the stabilization of the larynx. So again, I wrote that down because I wanted to make sure that I said it correctly, right? So let me say it one more time. It shows the final end of the spectrum of possibilities for stabilization of the larynx. This shows the absolute most stable, most sitting still, biggest possibility for stabilization in the larynx that is ever possible, ever. That's what this shows with straw phonation. That's what this video shows with the straw phonation. So let me just say something about the word stability. Words mean different things to different people, right? So this is the beauty of language. This is the beauty of engaging in language and having conversation and discussion. Words mean different things to different people. So many folks consider discussion around a stable larynx to be not useful because the stable larynx to them means a locked larynx. So just keep that in mind. And sometimes when we're talking to the singers we're working with, if we use the word stabilization or stable, then we can sometimes get people into a thing where they're locking and the muscles are over engaging, and that is not what we want. So keep that in mind. The implication of stability, however, so for me personally, and for many folks who I work with, stability is a positive thing. It implies that the muscles around the larynx are doing their job well, so that the larynx is suspended, stably suspended. Stably, I'm pretty sure stably isn't a word. It's suspended in a stable way, meaning not overly moving around, and that there's a feeling of release in the instrument that's inherent, right? Yeah, I know, Rebecca. Me neither. Like Rebecca's just commenting about that. So about that difference in thought around the word stable. I personally do not consider that word to be problematic, but I know people who do, who really think about that stable as being locked in and over-engaging. So there's a question there around saying that this is the positive outcome, that stability is the positive outcome. For me, again, stability, and for most of the people that I work with, stability is a very good outcome. Very good outcome. So, and often, so here's another thing to think about. When I work with singers who are undoing muscle tension patterns, singers with muscle tension dysphonia, which is the final sort of when those muscle tension patterns are really ingrained and they're really affecting the ability to create sound well. When I'm working with singers with any kind of muscle tension patterns, but especially muscle tension dysphonia, the inefficiencies that creep into the production because singers are attempting to find a kind of stability in the instrument so that they can create sounds that they want to create. So there is a miscoordination in the instrument as they're creating sound, and they're engaging in such a way to get that larynx feeling stable, but they're over-engaging, and the muscle tension patterns that are created are not healthy and do cause issues with the production and eventually with possibly leading to things like muscle tension dysphonia. So what straw phonation does for those singers in particular is it teaches their body an alternate way, a very efficient way to create the stability in the instrument that they are looking for without engaging in those negative muscular tension patterns to create the stability. So let me just say that one more time. Singers who have been stabilizing their own larynx or looking for a way to kind of feel a released yet suspended larynx in their instrument, finding stabilization, often will do that if they haven't been trained or if they're not in training, often will do that through a pattern of muscle engagement that is counterproductive. And that leads to over-engagement and, in some cases, muscle tension dysphonia. So what straw phonation does is it tells the body, it shows the body this alternate way, the efficient way to get the larynx stable in the positive sense of the word, so that the body can start to learn how to use really good coordination to have that stabilization that they're looking for, again, in the positive sense of the word. Yes, exactly, Rebecca. So Rebecca says, I love using the straw to release tension in the vocal tract by stripping away the mouth shapes. Exactly. So we're basically teaching the body how to do all this work in the most efficient way and taking the whole issue of resonance basically out of the picture. So the resonance factor, what we're doing with the vocal tract, we kind of line the vocal tract up in a really efficient way through the straw. The other thing that comes in with the straw is we get, because we're closing the exit. The reason this is called a semi-occluded vocal tract is because we are semi-occluding, or we're basically closing the vocal tract at the front of the vocal tract, right? So right here at the straw, we're making a lot less room for the air and the acoustic energy to leave. So what happens is that acoustic energy that can't leave because there's not enough space for it to go out actually moves back down the vocal tract and kind of massages. Yeah, that's the technical term. That's the science. There you go. Massages the top of the vocal folds, there's lots of ways to kind of describe it. Some people describe this as a little cushion of acoustic energy, as a little bit of a wave of acoustic energy that's at the top of the vocal folds and allows those vocal folds then to vibrate at their end and to move at their most efficient. So we get this very efficient vocal production starting to happen, and again we get this really lovely stability that we're teaching to our bodies. So we see with that in those two videos, we see that vocal tract being super stable in a positive way through really efficient use of the vocal tract and that straw, really efficient, and also we get that acoustic energy moving back down the vocal tract and kind of cushioning or making a little massage at the top of the vocal folds. And what that does then is when we remove the straw, what we're asking the body to do is remember what it feels like to produce sound with that super efficient way. Oh, June, thank you. So what we're doing is we're allowing the body then to discover how to create sound in this very efficient way with a very stable larynx, stable in the very positive sense of the word, okay? And then we're allowed to then do whatever we need to do with the vocal tract on top of that in terms of shaping, and we're allowed then to, the vocal tract itself, or the vocal folds and the larynx then can move in whatever way it needs to move, so long as it's within the parameters of this very efficient production, this very coordinated production. So let me just see whether I've said all the things that I want to say. Let me just see whether I've said all the things I want to say. Yeah. Shows the possibilities. The video shows what it looks like. Larynx has to move while we sing. Vocal tract must change shape. Blah, blah, blah. Already said all those things. There's a certain stability and efficiency required of the larynx. Vocal folds create sounds we need. That's the other thing. In the terminology that we have used in the past and that some folks still do use and that can be useful, we sometimes call this stability in the larynx. We actually sometimes call it the result of support. Sometimes when we feel that there's a lack of support or a lack of singing in the body, or sometimes when we feel like the voice is out of the body, those things can be the result of inefficient vocal fold coordination, inefficient production, inefficient vocal fold, inefficient coordination. And when we try to bring the support in, or we try to get on the voice, or we try to have, in the body singing, sometimes the muscles, again, those muscles click in and kind of give us this extra not happy muscle tension. And the straw kind of exercise helps to teach the body how to have support, how to sing on the voice, how to sing in the body through this kind of like tool for coordination, for like ultimate coordination. Okay, feels super stable then. So here's my last little point. Friends, straw use may seem like the next big thing, but I can pretty much guarantee that you have been using something in your studio already that does the same thing that straws do. Do you do tongue trills tongue trills? Do you do tongue trills in your lessons? Do you do lip bubbles in your lessons? Do you do v in your lesson? Do you do zh? Do you do z? Do you do s? Do you do any of those exercises? Those are all semi-occluded vocal. Do you do humming? Do you do ng? Do you do ends in your lessons? Those are all semi-occluded vocal tract exercises, and they all do exactly the same thing the straw does. Don't feel like you have to jump on the straw bandwagon. You just don't. If you've already got something that's working really well for you, like say a v, good old-fashioned v, which I prefer over straws, like pretty much 7 days a week, I will use a v, then use it. They're doing the same thing. They're closing down the vocal tract. They're in the right way. They're closing the vocal tract in the right way, semi-occluding the vocal tract, and giving you the same outcome that straws give you. And in fact, sometimes straws don't work very well if you get like too big, the wrong diameter, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes straws actually don't work so well. Sometimes V's work a million times better. Or tongue trills. Tongue trills are amazing. Yeah, the straw bandwagon. You don't have to jump on it. I'm here to tell you, you don't have to. I mean, get on it if you want to. It's a great tool. It's an amazing tool. And I've worked with lots of people who have had wonderful, wonderful success using the straw. But like, yeah, lip drills, exactly. Except they blow germs all over. Hi, Rebecca. A little bit of issue with the germs there. Let me just see here. Blah, blah, blah. Do the straws, do them not. I don't know. Whatever you want to do. Whatever's working for you and your students, do that. Just understand that we're looking for this full efficiency is what we're looking for. We're looking to teach the body, and whatever works, that's what you're going to do. So now you know. And now you know what is so exciting about those videos. That was the first time that I had ever seen what was actually happening in the vocal tract and with straw phonation. I had never seen something like that before, and it just blew my mind. I was like, I couldn't believe that the difference was so intense. I could not believe that difference was so like massive. That's what blew my mind. But again, that is it was awesome. But again, straw phonation, it's just a very modern take on a very old exercise that we have been doing for a bajillion years. Ask Justin Peterson. He's like super history guy, so voice ped history guy. He'll tell ya, I think. Justin, you have to tell us now. Anyway, that's the end of my spiel for today. I'm going to put this live into a blog along with a whole bunch of resources and also a link to those videos that I was talking about. So if you are subscribed to my blog, great. If you are not, I will put a link up in the Vocal Instrument 101 at some point as well, and you can just click on it from there. Either way, I don't care. Although probably I'm not supposed to say that. There's probably some kind of marketing thing where I'm supposed to be like, you need to be subscribed to my blog or something. I don't really know. So anyway, yeah. Yes, Larissa, right? So many of us are already doing this thing. So don't feel badly if you're not on the straw bandwagon. You just don't have to be. You're already doing the thing. It's all good. But try it out. See if you love it. You know, you never know. You might love it. Okay, that's all I have to say about that. Have a great night.